Getting sentenced to life in prison is a harsh sentence for even an adult, but for teens you may think it is inhumane. However, these teens are worse than the devil.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on the camera.
It was worth it.
And their lack of remorse. That is even more bone-chilling. Whether these teens are just plain psychopathic or possessed by demons, they will make you think twice before shedding a tear. T.J. Lane. It began in the quiet town of Chardon, Ohio, the kind of place where tragedy feels impossible. But for Thomas T.J. Lane, life had been anything but peaceful. His father, a man known for violent assaults, even against T.J.'s mother, was often in and out of prison. That chaos shaped him from an early age. Sent to live with his grandparents, T.J. seemed quiet, withdrawn. He wasn't popular, didn't play sports, didn't join any cliques. But there were glimpses of sadness behind his eyes, according to former classmates like Haley Kovacic. He was a normal kid, she recalled, but one who always seemed distant. 2 months before the tragic events at Chardon High School, T.J. posted a disturbing message on Facebook. The post read, "I am death, and you have always been the sod. Now, feel death, not just mocking you, not just stalking you, but inside of you. Wriggle and writhe, feel smaller beneath my might, seizure in the pestilence that is my scythe. Die, all of you." This ominous message hinted at the darkness brewing within him, but no one could have predicted the horror that would soon unfold. The nightmare at Chardon High School began on the morning of February 27, 2012. At approximately 7:30 a.m., T.J. Lane entered the school cafeteria, where many students gathered before their morning classes. Wearing a sweatshirt with the word "killer" emblazoned on it, he pulled out a .22 caliber handgun and opened fire. The scene quickly descended into chaos. Students screamed and scrambled for cover as Lane methodically targeted his classmates. By the time the shooting stopped, 6 students had been hit. 3 of them, Russell King Jr., Demetrius Hewlin, and Danny Parmertor, would not survive their injuries. 2 others were severely wounded, and 1 female student was also injured. As Lane fled the cafeteria, a teacher named Joseph Rizzi and a coach named Frank Hall bravely tackled him, ending the rampage.
911, what is your emergency? This is Chardon High School calling. We are in lockdown. We need assistance right now. Hi, Chardon High School. We had shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots.
The immediate aftermath was a scene of heartbreak and confusion. Soon, police uncovered his Facebook message, and suddenly, every word sounded prophetic. But it was what came next that horrified the world even more. T.J.'s courtroom behavior was a spectacle of cruelty. At his sentencing hearing, he wore a white shirt with the word "killer" scrawled across it, mirroring the sweatshirt he wore during the shooting. His demeanor was defiant and chilling. He addressed the victims' families with profane imagery, saying,
"Saying pull the trigger to kill your son, now masturbates to memory of you."
The courtroom was stunned by his blatant disrespect and lack of remorse. Despite speculation that Lane's motive was related to a romantic rivalry, he never clarified his reasons in court. The judge sentenced him to 3 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 1 for each student he killed. While that was crazily shocking, this next teen is about to understand that patience can resolve a lot of things. Shelby Isaac. In January 2016, Memphis was shaken by a case so bizarre it bordered on unbelievable. E.J. Tate and Edwina Thomas, a young couple expecting a child, ran a local business selling hair extensions. Shelby, one of their customers, wasn't happy. When her demand for a refund turned hostile, she arranged to meet them, allegedly to talk it out. But she didn't come to talk. She came with a gun. Witnesses would later recall that the argument turned deadly within seconds. Shots rang out. And by the time it ended, E.J., Edwina, and their unborn baby were gone. The scene was catastrophic, neighbors screaming, police rushing in, yellow tape stretching across the street. Investigators quickly zeroed in on Shelby after finding her fingerprints at the scene and blood on her clothes. Friends said she was later seen carrying large wads of cash. The trial of Shelby Isaac began on November 2017, drawing intense media attention and a packed courtroom. Prosecutor Gavin Smith took the lead, urging the jurors to uphold justice. "She took their life. You've got a job to do. Do it. Find her guilty," he stated passionately. The prosecution laid out the sequence of events, emphasizing that Isaac had premeditated the attack. They presented fingerprint evidence that placed Isaac at the crime scene, leaving no doubt about her presence during the murders. Witnesses took the stand, recounting chilling details. They testified that Isaac had blood on her clothes and a significant amount of cash shortly after the murders. However, the defense team, led by attorney Lauren Funches, fought back, arguing that the witness statements were inconsistent and unreliable. They claimed there was no solid proof directly linking Isaac to the shooting. When you follow the credible and unbiased evidence in this case, it does not lead you to Shelby Isaac, Funches argued. Despite the defense's efforts, the prosecution's evidence was overwhelming. The jury listened intently as both sides presented their cases, weighing the credibility of the evidence and testimonies. The climax of the trial came when the jury delivered their verdict in November.
Ms. Isaac, please stand. Count one of this verdict reads, we the jury find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder as included in count one.
The tension in the courtroom was palpable as the jury returned with their verdict. Shelby Isaac, the 19-year-old at the center of this tragic case, stood before Judge James Lammy. As the judge began reading the verdict, Isaac's demeanor shifted dramatically. She put her head down, visibly overwhelmed by the moment.
Of second-degree murder as included in count one. Signed by the foreperson of the jury. Ms. Murphy, is that your verdict? Mr. Aldridge, is that your verdict? Ms. Foster, is that your verdict?
Yes.
And is that your verdict, ma'am?
Judge Lammy announced that Isaac was found guilty on 2 counts of second-degree murder for the deaths of E.J. Tate, Edwina Thomas, and their unborn child. As the judge continued to read the verdicts on the other counts, Isaac collapsed to the floor. For at least 5 minutes, deputies worked to revive her, while her family erupted in cries of anguish. The emotional intensity in the courtroom was overwhelming, with some jurors also breaking down in tears. 30 years to sit in a cell and think about the lives ended over a bundle of hair. This next teen, who thought he was having fun taking lives, is about to face the full consequences of his action. Ciandel Jackson. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a mother once said through tears,
"When I saw it on the news, I even cried. I'm like, oh my God, I can't imagine what that mother is going through. I never had a clue that my child had anything to do with it. My son is not a monster. He is not a monster."
But for many, watching in that courtroom, it was hard to believe her. Because her son, Ciandel Jackson, age 19, had just been convicted of murder. Not once, but twice. He had shot someone a few hours before he killed Nathan Potter for the same reason. It was a robbery. But he told the judge he thought he was having fun. The air was thick with anticipation. The families of both the victim and the convict seated on opposite sides, their emotions raw and palpable. During the trial, Jackson showed no signs of regret or sorrow over his crimes. He rained obscenities at the court and even smiled at the victim's family while being escorted out of the courtroom. At the sentencing, history repeated itself. Jackson tried to turn to Potter's family. He was restrained by deputies as his family wailed, cursed, and berated Potter's family. The judge sentenced Jackson to life in prison with no chance of parole. The words hung in the air, heavy and final. For a moment, there was a stunned silence. Then, Ciandel Jackson erupted. He spat a string of obscenities at Judge Dallett, his face contorted with rage. The courtroom descended into chaos as 3 deputies and Milwaukee Police Detective James Hutchinson rushed to subdue him. Jackson fought back violently, his fury unchecked. The deputies wrestled him to the ground, struggling to control his flailing limbs. Detective Hutchinson, caught in the melee, was hit in the eyes by the pepper spray used to subdue Jackson. As Ciandel Jackson was being subdued, the emotional toll on Nathan Potter's family became painfully evident. John and Denise Potter clung to each other, tears streaming down their faces. While his reaction was intense, he was not the only one who lost control. Jackson's family members in the back of the courtroom started hurling insults at Potter's mother after the sentencing, saying, Another woman shouted, "God's the judge," as the Potters wept openly. The taunts and jeers only deepened the Potters' sorrow, turning the courtroom into a battleground of emotions. Nehemiah Griego. On January 19, 2013, a quiet neighborhood in South Valley, New Mexico, was shattered by a horrifying tragedy. 15-year-old Nehemiah Griego committed an unthinkable act that left his family and the community in shock. Nehemiah, armed with a .22 caliber semi-automatic rifle and an AR-15 type semi-automatic rifle, murdered his parents, Greg and Sarah Griego, and his 3 younger siblings. 9-year-old Zephaniah, 5-year-old Jael, and 2-year-old Angelina. The Griego family was well known in their community. Greg Griego, 51, was a former pastor at Calvary Church and served as a chaplain for the Albuquerque Fire Department. Both Greg and his wife, 40-year-old Sarah Griego, were active in prison ministry. They were parents to 10 children, including Nehemiah, who was the 5th child. The night of the murders, Nehemiah first shot his mother, Sarah, around midnight. When his younger brother Zephaniah woke up, Nehemiah told him what he had done and then shot him as well. He then went into the bedroom where his 2 younger sisters were crying and shot them both in the head.
I just couldn't sleep. I had a hard time sleeping. So what did you do when you were in your sisters? You know, I completely turned off my conscience. I really did. You know, I just let the beats come out.
After committing the horrific murders, Nehemiah Griego waited for his father Greg to return home from his shift at a homeless shelter. When Greg arrived around 5 a.m., Nehemiah shot him multiple times with the AR-15 rifle.
Fired 4 or 5 times. Did you fire again after he was on the ground? Yeah, I shot him.
With his entire family now dead, Nehemiah drove to his church, taking the rifles with him in the van. At the church, Nehemiah told his 12-year-old girlfriend that his family had been killed in an accident. The pastor, sensing something was wrong, asked Nehemiah about his father. Nehemiah then revealed that his entire family was dead. Alarmed, the pastor and a retired homicide detective from the congregation decided to drive Nehemiah back to his house. On the way, the retired detective felt something was off and called 911. Police arrived at the Griego home and discovered the gruesome scene. Nehemiah was arrested and taken into custody. During his interrogation, Nehemiah confessed to the murders, stating that he had been having suicidal and homicidal thoughts. He revealed that he had obtained the guns from his parents' closet and that his father had taught him and his mother how to use them. Nehemiah even admitted to emailing a photo of his dead mother to his girlfriend. His original plan was to drive away, kill more people, and die in a gun battle with the police. The legal proceedings for Nehemiah Griego's case were complex and drawn out. Initially, Nehemiah was charged with 2 counts of murder and 3 counts of child abuse resulting in death. Given his age at the time of the crime, there was significant debate over whether he should be tried as a juvenile or an adult. In October 2015, Nehemiah pleaded guilty to 2 counts of second-degree murder and 3 counts of child abuse resulting in death. The court initially considered sentencing him as a juvenile, given his age and mental health evaluations. In February 2016, Judge John J. Romero of the New Mexico Children's Court determined that Nehemiah was amenable to treatment and would be sentenced as a juvenile. This decision meant that Nehemiah, then 18, would likely be released from a youth detention facility when he turned 21. However, This ruling was appealed by Bernalillo County District Attorney Kari Brandenburg. In August 2019, Judge Elisa Hart reversed the lower court's decision, ruling that Nehemiah was not amenable to treatment or rehabilitation in available facilities. She sentenced him as an adult, given the severity of his crimes and the multiple victims involved. Nehemiah faced a sentence of up to 120 years in prison. Ultimately, he was sentenced to 3 concurrent life sentences, plus 7 years to run consecutively with the life sentences. He must serve 30 years before being eligible for parole. During his sentencing, Nehemiah Griego stood in court and delivered an emotional apology. With tears in his eyes, he expressed deep remorse for his actions and the unimaginable pain he had caused his surviving family members and the community.
I am sorry for taking our parents and our kids. I wish I can take it back, but reality is that we can't.
He told them he had healed from the incident and was ready to move on.
I want no retaliation. I love you guys, and I want to see the best for y'all. And whatever you may do, and I do pray for you guys to have healing the way I'm having healing.
The terrible case divided the Griego family, with his aunt and uncle lobbying for Nehemiah's juvenile sentence, while his sisters and the state fought to keep him in prison. He still appreciated his aunt and uncle for supporting and pushing for his release from jail.
Nobody's ever shown me that kind of mercy and that kind of compassion the way you guys have. And I'm so damn grateful for you guys.
However, what he said next made his sisters very angry.
You've basically been a second father to me. You're the father I wish I had.
Nehemiah's statement made his sister cry and stormed out of the courtroom. Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero. Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero's relationship began in June 2020. Sierra, 16, and Aaron, 18, were 2 teenagers caught in a whirlwind romance that quickly spiraled out of control. Their intense connection was marked by a rebellious streak and a desire to escape their current lives. The couple's relationship was passionate but also fraught with tension and secrecy. Both sets of parents were aware of the couple's plans to run away together. Daniel Halseth, Sierra's father, was particularly concerned about the influence Aaron had on his daughter. In December 2020, the parents agreed that Sierra and Aaron should no longer have contact with each other. Despite this, the couple continued to see each other in secret, defying their parents' wishes. As their relationship progressed, Sierra and Aaron began to formulate a dark plan. They were determined to be together at any cost, even if it meant taking drastic measures. The couple's rebellious nature and desire for freedom led them down a dangerous path. On April 9, 2021, the situation reached a horrifying climax. Surveillance footage captured Sierra and Aaron leaving the neighborhood in Daniel Halseth's blue Nissan Altima. In the days leading up to the murder, the teens were seen purchasing items like bleach, lighter fluid, gloves, and cleaning cloths. These purchases indicated a premeditated plan to commit a heinous crime. The tension between Sierra and her father had been building for months. Daniel Halseth had tried to intervene and prevent his daughter from making a life-altering mistake. The discovery of Daniel Halseth's body on April 9, 2021, sent shockwaves through the quiet Las Vegas neighborhood. It all began when Guerrero's mother reported that she hadn't heard from her son in 2 days. Concerned, Las Vegas police requested Daniel Halseth's landlord to check on him. What the landlord found was nothing short of horrifying. Daniel Halseth's burned body was discovered in the garage of his home. The gruesome scene was a stark contrast to the peaceful suburban setting. The landlord immediately contacted the authorities, and the investigation into Daniel's death commenced. Las Vegas police quickly arrived at the scene and began piecing together the events leading up to the murder. The initial investigation revealed that Daniel had been brutally attacked with various weapons, including a chainsaw, handsaw, scissors, and knives. As investigators combed through the evidence, they discovered surveillance footage that captured Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero leaving the neighborhood in Daniel's blue Nissan Altima. This footage was a crucial piece of evidence that linked the teens to the crime. Further investigation revealed that in the days leading up to the murder, Sierra and Aaron had made several suspicious purchases. Surveillance photos and receipts showed the teens buying items like bleach, lighter fluid, gloves, and cleaning cloths. These purchases suggested a premeditated plan to cover up their crime. The police also uncovered a chilling YouTube video of Sierra and Aaron discussing the murder just days after the incident.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. After
Day
murdering, day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on the camera.
It was worth it.
And we had sex a lot today.
It was worth it. I got plenty of sex with it. I was paying them for doing it.
And no bleeding this time.
This video, along with text messages sent to Sierra asking about her father's whereabouts. As the investigation progressed, it became clear that Sierra and Aaron had meticulously planned and executed the murder of Daniel Halseth. After the discovery of Daniel Halseth's body and the subsequent investigation, the police tracked the couple to Salt Lake City. On April 12, 2021, just 3 days after the murder, Sierra and Aaron were arrested. The evidence against the teens was overwhelming. Surveillance footage, receipts, and the chilling YouTube video all pointed to their guilt. In the face of such damning evidence, Sierra and Aaron had little choice but to plead guilty. On May 26, 2022, they stood before the court and admitted to their roles in the brutal murder of Daniel Halseth. The charges against them were severe. They pleaded guilty to 9 counts, including murder, arson, and robbery. The courtroom was filled with a mix of emotions as the details of the crime were laid bare. Family members, friends, and members of the community watched in horror as the gruesome facts were recounted. The sentencing was set for July 14th, and the anticipation was palpable. The community wanted justice for Daniel Halseth, and the court was determined to deliver it. On the day of sentencing, the courtroom was packed. The judge, after considering the gravity of the crime and the overwhelming evidence, handed down a severe sentence.
On count 2, you're going to be sentenced to life in the Nevada Department of Corrections with the possibility of parole after 20 years has been served, plus a consecutive 24 to 60 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections for the deadly weapon enhancement. Count 2 is ordered to run concurrent to count 1. On count 3, you're going to be sentenced to 72 to 180 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 2. On count 4, you're going to be sentenced to 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. That's ordered to run concurrent to count 3.
Sierra Halseth and Aaron Guerrero were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge's decision was a reflection of the brutality of the crime and the need for justice. As the sentence was read, there was a sense of relief among those present. Justice had been served, but the scars left by the crime would remain forever. Click on one of the cards on the screen to see more videos like this.